Thank you, Allison. Hope you guys don't mind the mask. I'm not loving it, but occupational hazard. I so wish that you had had the opportunity to read this wonderful book, as I have, and I am absolutely positive that you're going to love it. It's a bittersweet story. It's based on scraps of letters and notes and journals of Ruth Reichl's diaries and notes. It tells the story of a woman who was born really at the wrong time for who she was. She was born in 1908, and her dad was a doctor, and she desperately wanted to be a doctor. Ruth says at one point in the book, her mom, when she was little, would answer the phone, "How far apart are the pains?" But her parents said to her, re that ambition, "You're not pretty, so you're going to have a hard enough time finding a husband. If you're a doctor, you'll never get a husband. No man will ever marry you." So Miriam lived a life of frustration and boredom. She sat around the house being frustrated and miserable, the book tells us. And Ruth writes, "As I went through her letters, I watched this bright spirit just dwindle and get sadder and sadder." That's just a taste for you of this delectable book. It's a change for you, Ruth, to go from writing about food to writing a personal family story, opening up your own psyche to readers. Your previous memoirs, which I also loved, did talk about your personal life, but when they got personal, they didn't get anywhere near that close to the bone. I'm wondering, was it hard? Did it feel a bit like undressing in public doing this book?
Well, I actually do think that Comfort Me with Apples, I talk about losing an adopted child and almost losing my marriage going through it. And as I've said earlier, I always think that privacy is overrated. I think one of the reasons for writing memoir is to show people that underneath, we're all pretty much the same. We're all, filled with self-doubt and self-loathing, and everybody's nervous. And, I think these kinds of things helped me when I was growing up. This book, though, is different because I really don't think of this as my book. Mm-hmm. I think of this as my mother's book. So in many ways, it's less close to me, and really, in many ways, more painful, because I'm discovering this woman who turns out to be very different than I thought that she was.
More painful because?
More painful because, I think that we all decide sometime, probably in late childhood, who our parents are, and we set them in stone. And that's the person we carry around forever. And that's the person I've been writing about all my life. And she was great material. I mean, you if you're a writer, you were very lucky to have my mother. As I went through her papers, I discovered that she was actually someone quite different. I mean, meeting her as a grown-up, I discover that she's more self-aware, much more generous, much more thoughtful than I had ever known. And it hurt me that I never knew that person when she was alive, and even more, that I never got to tell her how much I appreciate everything that she did for me.